Hey everyone, thanks for being here. After nearly 30 years of practicing family medicine, the one sentence I dread hearing isn't bad news. It's not even "do I have something serious, doc?" It's four words: "I wish I'd known." I've heard that so many times, and every single time it sits heavy in my chest like a rock I can't breathe around. I've heard it from a white-haired husband in the hospital hallway, from a grown son with red, swollen eyes, from a daughter holding her mom's hand too choked up to speak. And here's the thing that breaks my heart: those people weren't careless, they weren't ignoring their loved one, they just didn't know. They didn't know that 1 or 2 weeks earlier the body had already been screaming for help. They didn't know that "I'm just getting older" or "I didn't sleep well" was hiding something much more dangerous. So the reason I'm sitting here talking to you today is simple. I don't want you, the person watching this on your screen right now, to ever have to say, "I wish I'd known." So here's the most important thing I've learned in nearly 3 decades of practice. Before a real stroke happens, it almost always shows up in your legs first. Once, twice, sometimes many times, it's a cry for help. But more than 90% of people miss it. They blame it on aging, on the weather, on just being tired. If you are over 40, or if you love someone who is, please watch this whole video, or better yet, forward it to them right now, because what I'm about to tell you could genuinely change a life. Let me tell you a story I still can't forget. Last winter, it was one of those cold, damp days where the chill follows you inside. A patient came to my office with her daughter. Let's call her Mrs. Chen. She was 67 years old. Retired after 30 years at a local bank, generally healthy. Her blood pressure was a little high now and then, but she took her medication. Every morning she went to the park and did Tai Chi. Her neighbors always said she had more energy than people 10 or 15 years younger. But the day she walked into my clinic, I could feel something was off. She sat down and said, "My right leg has been weird lately. When I walk, it gets weak. Sometimes it feels like I'm stepping on a pillow, soft and not solid." I asked how long this had been going on, and her daughter jumped in. How family members do. "Mom, tell the truth, almost 2 weeks, right?" Mrs. Chen waved her hand like it was nothing. "It's not that bad. It comes and goes." I figured it's just the cold weather, bad circulation. My stomach dropped. I did a few quick tests right there in the exam room. Then I asked her, in the last 2 weeks, "Did you ever have blurry vision, or did your speech feel off, even for a few seconds?" She thought about it, then she said, "Well, once my tongue felt clumsy, like I couldn't get a word out, but it was less than a minute." That was the moment I closed my notebook and said, "Mrs. Chen, we're doing a brain scan today. You're not going home just yet." The results came back. She had significant plaque in her carotid artery. That's the main highway of blood to your brain. And two areas in her brain where the vessels were narrowed by more than 60%. The neurologist looked at me and said, "Good thing she came in." Mrs. Chen was admitted. She got proper medication, and she's been coming back for regular checkups. A few months ago, her daughter brought her in again, and she looked great, better color, steady walk, sharp as ever. But every time I think about her, I also think about the other patients. The ones who felt the symptoms disappear and thought, "See, nothing to worry about." The ones who said, "I'll just rest today." And then 2 days later, or 3 days later, or even that same night, they couldn't stand up again. Mrs. Chen's story had a happy ending, not because of luck. Because her daughter insisted on bringing her in, because they didn't ignore what her legs were saying. Let me clear something up first. A lot of people ask me, why the legs? Why would a brain problem show up in my feet? That sounds counterintuitive, I know, but the explanation is actually very clear. Let me give you an analogy that anyone can understand. Imagine the blood vessels in your brain are like the heating pipes in an old house. When they're brand new, the pipe walls are smooth and flexible, hot water flows through, and the whole house warms up beautifully. But after 20 or 30 years, rust builds up inside, grease and gunk, and who knows what stick to the pipe walls. In medicine, we call that atherosclerosis, plaque. Basically, here's the scary part: that process is completely silent. You don't feel it, no pain, no warning, but the pipe gets narrower, the water flow slows down, the pressure keeps building. Then one day, a small clot comes along, like a piece of rust breaking off, and it blocks a pipe that was already too tight. That's what we call an ischemic stroke, a clot blocking flow. Other times the pipe has become so brittle and stiff and your blood pressure spikes, and bang, the pipe bursts. That's a hemorrhagic stroke. Bleeding in the brain. So why do your legs give you the first warning? Because your brain is the command center for your entire body. It receives signals from your legs, touch, position, temperature, and it sends movement orders down to your legs and the nerve pathways that control your legs. They happen to be some of the first areas affected when blood flow starts getting shaky, so your legs act like the canary in the coal mine. But here's the tragedy: most people don't understand what that canary is saying. Okay, I need you to really focus here. This might be the single most important thing I say in this entire video. There's a condition called a transient ischemic attack, TIA for short. In plain English, a blood vessel in your brain gets blocked for a few minutes and then it clears itself. The symptoms appear, then they vanish. You feel fine, like nothing ever happened, and that vanishing part. That is where so many people make a choice they regret for the rest of their lives because your brain says, "Phew, I'm fine, must have been tired yesterday." But what actually happened, your brain just gave you a final warning shot. According to data from the American Stroke Association and the CDC, among people who have a TIA, 10 to 15% will have a full complete stroke within 48 hours. Nearly 20% will have one within 3 months. Not someday, not maybe, probably within the next 2 days. So please hear me on this. Symptoms going away is not good news. It is the most dangerous trick your body can play. If you have had any sudden leg weakness, numbness, or clumsiness in the last 2 weeks, even if it only lasted a few minutes, do not wait. Do not keep an eye on it. Call your doctor. Now, I'm going to say something that some of my colleagues might disagree with, and that's okay. A lot of health advice, even from doctors and mainstream media, focuses almost entirely on your numbers, blood pressure, cholesterol, and don't get me wrong, those numbers matter. Controlling your blood pressure and your LDL cholesterol absolutely lowers your stroke risk. But in nearly 30 years, I have seen plenty of patients with perfect numbers, great blood pressure, great cholesterol, and they still had a stroke. Why? Because they never learned to listen to their body's signals. The lab report said normal, but their body was saying something is wrong. They just didn't hear it. Preventing a stroke isn't just about managing numbers on a piece of paper. It's about learning the language your body speaks. And right now, that message is hiding in your legs. Hey, if you're still with me, drop a 1 in the comments so I know you're in this together with me. We're walking this road as a team. No one gets left behind. Before I give you the 7 warning signs, let me teach you a ridiculously simple morning routine. Costs nothing, no equipment, less than 5 minutes. I taught this to my own parents. My dad has been doing it for almost 3 years now. His checkups have been rock solid. Check number 1. Stand up from a chair tomorrow morning when you get up, or anytime you've been sitting for a while. Pay attention. Do both legs push evenly? Do you unconsciously use one side more than the other? Does your body lean to one direction when you stand? You don't have to do this as a formal test. Just notice it during your normal day. If you see a pattern, take it seriously. Check number 2. Stand with your eyes closed. Find a safe spot next to a wall or with someone nearby to catch you if you wobble. Close your eyes, put your feet together, try to stand for 30 seconds. If you sway a lot or if you tip noticeably to one side, that could mean the balance center in your brain isn't getting enough blood. Older folks, please have someone right there with you when you try this. Safety first. Check number 3, feel the floor with your bare feet. When you wake up tomorrow morning, take your socks off. Stand on the floor, close your eyes, ask yourself, do both feet feel exactly the same, or does one foot feel colder? Does one feel like it's wrapped in a thick sock? Not quite real. A clear difference between your 2 feet means your sensory nerves are sending an SOS. Check number 4, walk heel to toe in a straight line. Find a straight line on your floor, a tile seam, a strip of tape, whatever works. Walk 10 steps, placing your heel directly against the toe of your other foot each time. See if you can stay on the line. If you keep veering off to one side, or if you're wobbly and crooked, that tells us your brain's coordination system may be declining. Rotate through these 4 checks. You don't have to do all 4 every single day, but start tomorrow morning because health isn't waiting for a doctor to find a problem. It's finding it yourself and then bringing it to your doctor. Now let's talk about food. Preventing a stroke is not about buying expensive supplements from some late-night infomercial. It's not about a complete diet overhaul that you'll quit after 2 weeks. It's just a few smart, simple changes. 3 foods I want you to eat more of. Number 1, fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, herring. These are packed with omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s lower the bad fats that inflame your blood vessels. They also raise your good cholesterol, HDL, so your blood flows smoothly and doesn't get sticky. Aim for at least 2 servings a week. Bake it or steam it. Don't deep fry it because that destroys a lot of the benefits. I personally eat fish twice a week, not because I'm a doctor lecturing you, because I've done it for 20 years and I genuinely feel better. Number 2, leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard. Also, mushrooms and pumpkin, these are rich in potassium, and potassium helps your body flush out extra sodium. Less sodium means lower blood pressure. Lower blood pressure means less stress on your brain vessels. I eat a side of greens almost every day in the hospital cafeteria. Busy day or not, it's a habit and it's protection. Number 3, tomatoes. Why are tomatoes red? Because of a compound called lycopene. Lycopene is one of the most powerful natural antioxidants we know of. It helps protect your vessel walls from oxidative damage, keeps them smooth so plaque doesn't stick as easily. Here's a pro tip: cook your tomatoes with a little oil, like in tomato sauce, or stir-fried eggs with tomato soup. Cooking with oil increases lycopene absorption by 5 times or more. Simple, delicious, brain protective food. Now, 3 things to eat less of. Number 1, very salty foods. A lot of my patients love soup, ramen broth, hot pot broth, stews, braised dishes. I get it, they're delicious. But these are a major reason older adults get hemorrhagic strokes. The bleeding kind: when you eat too much sodium, your body holds on to extra water. That increases the total volume of blood in your vessels. More volume suture, higher pressure, and brittle, stiff vessels can't handle that pressure. That harmless bowl of salty broth, it can be a ticking time bomb. Number 2, fried foods: fried chicken, French fries, donuts, fried pastries. These contain trans fats and oils that have been damaged by high heat. They directly injure the lining of your blood vessels and cause chronic inflammation throughout your body. On top of that, they lower your good cholesterol and raise your bad cholesterol. Every bite pushes your vessels in the wrong direction. Once in a while, fine, you're human. Every day you are slowly, quietly clogging your own pipes. Number 3, processed meats: sausage, ham, bacon, salami, pepperoni. To preserve them and make them taste good, manufacturers load them with sodium and nitrates. Those chemicals over time irritate your vessel walls and make them stiff and brittle. I'm not saying you can never have bacon on a Saturday morning. Just keep it rare. A treat, not a routine. The choices you make today decide how your body works 10 years from now. That's not me trying to scare you. That's just honest physiology. If you're still watching, thank you. It tells me you take your health and your family's health seriously. Hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss the next video. Let's keep going. Here we go. This is the most important part of everything I have said today. I have seen that the vast majority of stroke patients, before they had their actual stroke, had leg signals, sometimes once, sometimes multiple times, but they didn't know what they were looking at. So please take out your phone and take screenshots or write these down, because one day these 7 signals might save you or someone you love. Sudden weakness in one leg, not both. You're standing up from the couch or you're walking across the kitchen, and suddenly one leg just gives way. It feels like it's not even yours. It's not painful. It's just weak. Here's the key difference: muscle fatigue or arthritis usually affects both legs, and it comes with soreness or aching. A stroke warning is sudden, one-sided, and painless. That's the brain's movement pathway struggling. Remember that. It could save you. Signal number 2, one leg feels different, numb, or strange. Patients have told me, my left foot feels like I'm wearing a thick wool sock. Or when I take a hot shower, my right leg doesn't feel the heat as much, or my wife pinched my toe and I barely felt it. That's the brain sensation center not getting enough blood. It's like a broken telephone line. Your leg is talking, but your brain can't hear. And if that numbness comes and goes, that's not a relief. That's a TIA. Signal number 3. You drag one foot when you walk, or your shoe keeps falling off. This one is surprisingly easy to spot. Listen for a sheesh sound as you walk. That's your toe scraping the floor, or you're wearing slippers or sneakers and one of them keeps flying off. That's not an ankle problem. That's your brain failing to send the lift your toes signal. Doctors call it foot drop, and it's very easy to blame on I'm just getting older or I need new shoes. Don't make that mistake. Signal number 4, you keep tripping on flat ground with nothing in your way, no rug, no crack in the sidewalk, no step. But you keep stumbling. Your family says, honey, you need to be more careful. It's not carelessness. It's your brain's internal GPS failing, what doctors call proprioception. Your brain loses track of where your leg actually is in space. Even a perfectly flat floor feels like an obstacle course. This is a real physical problem, not clumsiness. Signal number 5, your leg twitches or jerks without you controlling it. You're sitting watching TV or lying in bed, and your leg gives a small jerk or twitch. It's not painful like a cramp, just a little movement you didn't intend. Patients sometimes ask me, is that a calcium problem? And I ask them back, when it twitches, can you stop it? If the answer is no, if your leg moves whether you want it to or not, that's a brain signal problem. The part of your brain that says stop moving isn't getting enough blood. Signal number 6, you walk like you're drunk and your body leans to one side. Suddenly you feel dizzy, not like the room is spinning, but like you're on a boat and your body keeps pulling to the same direction every time you have to hold onto the wall to walk straight. Regular dizziness often gets better when you close your eyes, but with a brain vessel problem, closing your eyes actually makes the rocking worse, and the leaning is always to the same side. That's a red flag for the cerebellum or brainstem, the parts of your brain that control balance. Signal number 7, the most dangerous one, any of the above signals appears and then completely disappears. Leg weakness for 5 minutes, gone. Numbness for 10 minutes, gone. Wobbly walking for a few minutes, gone. You feel fine, you think. See, I was worried about nothing. That is the TIA we talked about earlier. The vessel blocked, then cleared, but it is not a recovery. It is your brain screaming one last warning. Let me be absolutely clear, because this matters more than anything else in this video. If you experience any of these 7 signals, even once, even for 1 minute, even if it goes away completely, do not wait. Do not watch and see. Do not ask Dr. Google. Call your doctor's office today and get seen. Go to urgent care. Go to the ER if you have to. That is not overreacting. That is being responsible for yourself and for the people who love you. The FAST and L acronym, what to do in an emergency. Let me give you a tool that doctors all over the world use. You may have heard of FAST, but I'm going to add something to it. F, face, ask the person to smile. Does one side of their mouth droop? A, arms, ask them to raise both arms. Does one arm drift down or not come up at all? S, speech, ask them to say a simple sentence like the weather is nice today. Is it slurred? Do the words come out wrong? T, time. If you see any of these signs, note the exact time the symptoms started, then call 911 immediately. That time is critical for the golden 3-hour treatment window. Now I'm adding a 5th letter, L, legs. The 7 leg signals we just went through, that's your L. If you see any of those leg signals, even without face, arm, or speech changes, take it just as seriously. So remember FAST+L, and when you call 911, say these exact words: I suspect a stroke, symptoms started at time, here's what's happening. That one piece of information, the exact time, can save someone's brain. Let me pull this all together so it sticks. 1, a stroke is never truly sudden. Before the big event happens, your body, especially your legs, sends signals. 2, the 7 leg signals are sudden weakness in one leg, numbness, or strange feeling, dragging a foot or losing a shoe, tripping on flat ground, uncontrolled twitching, walking like you're drunk and leaning to one side, and most dangerous of all, symptoms that appear then completely disappear. 3, symptoms that go away are not good news. They are the most dangerous trick your body can play. Never ignore them. 4, start the 5-minute morning self-check tomorrow. Tweak what's on your plate. And most of all, learn to listen to what your body is already telling you. I've been doing this work for a long time. I've seen a lot of sick people. I've seen a lot of families. And I've gotten used to a lot of things that would have shocked me when I first started. But there is one thing I have never gotten used to. It's the tragedies that didn't have to happen, not the ones where medicine had no answer. I'm talking about the ones where knowing a little earlier, just a few days earlier, would have changed everything. Every time I see a family sitting in those hard plastic hospital chairs, eyes red, holding each other, I think the same thing. If only someone had told them, if only they hadn't blamed it on old age, if only they had known these signals. That is why I made this video. It's not for views. It's not for numbers. It's because I genuinely, deeply do not want to see that waiting room scene anymore. My biggest hope is not to see you in my emergency room. My biggest hope is that you and your family never need to be there. The road to health doesn't start when you get sick. It starts today with one meal, with one morning self-check, with one small signal you decide to take seriously instead of brushing off. Those small choices are the best gifts you will ever give yourself and the people who love you. We walk this road together, slowly, steadily, and no one gets left behind. Wait, don't click away. I have one more thing for you. A tiny detail that almost nobody knows. It's a free, ridiculously simple daily brain check that you can do while you're brushing your teeth. Tomorrow morning, when you're looking in the bathroom mirror, open your mouth and say a sentence out loud. Say something simple like, today the weather is nice. Then pay attention to 2 things. First, is your tongue centered in your mouth, or does it drift to one side? Second, do your words come out clear and smooth, or do you have a little bit of slurring? Do certain sounds feel harder than usual? For many people, the very first TIA signal isn't in their legs at all. It's in their speech, but it only lasts a minute or two and they shrug it off. They think, I just woke up funny, or I need coffee. So add this to your morning routine. Less than 60 seconds. Anything feels off, even a little bit, do not wait. Go get checked that same day. I teach this to my patients' families. It works, it's easy, and people actually stick with it. If this video helped you, really helped you, please share it with the people you care about, especially anyone over 50, especially anyone who says, oh, it's nothing, that one tap to forward this, that might do more good than any prescription I could write. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, if you're dealing with any health concerns, please schedule a visit with your primary care doctor. I'm here to help you understand the science, not replace professional medical advice. Take care of yourself, truly.